It's July 5th, 1984. Nigeria's most wanted man, Umaru Diko, former Minister of Transportation in Nigeria under our first democratically elected president, Shehu Shagari, was taking a stroll and left his London home. Immediately, he was kidnapped by two men and placed into a van. This operation was a joint exercise between Nigeria and Mossad, Israel's national intelligence agency. Who was this man? And why was the Nigerian government so eager to kidnap someone living in London? And how did Israel get involved in this? Let's rewind. In December 31st, 1983, former President then General Muhammadu Buhari led a coup against our first democratically elected president, Shehu Shagari. After the coup, most of the people in the former government fled the country out of fear of being arrested by Buhari as he began a nationwide campaign against corruption. His main targets were people in the former administration, and one of these was Umaru Diko, who was Shehu Shagari's brother-in-law, by the way. After the coup, he fled to London and was a very vocal critic of the new government, appearing in interviews, news stations, etc., just bad-mouthing the government. And he was labeled Nigeria's most wanted man. Yes, the government wanted to kidnap him because he was being a hater. Well, to be fair to Buhari, he did steal billions of naira, allegedly. So they wanted him to pay for his crimes. And they asked the United Kingdom to hand him over, and they said,
Oh, hell no! Hell no!
well, the government didn't back down. They were very persistent to catch this man. So who did they turn to? None other than Mossad. As stated, this was the Israel's intelligence agency. And by the way, it was one of the most feared intelligence agencies in the whole world. They asked for help and Mossad was like,
Okay.
now, did they do this out of the goodness of their hearts? Probably not. They just wanted a share of Nigeria's sweet, sweet oil. So the stage is set. The Mossad agents and Nigerian Security Service agents traveled to London to track down this man. Now, they knew he was in London, but they didn't know the exact location. So the two groups split up, with the Nigerian agents posing as refugees fleeing from this current regime. By sheer luck, a Mossad agent spotted him, then followed him back to his house, told the rest of the gang, and they put his house under 24/7 surveillance. July 3rd, 1984, 2 days before the kidnap, a Nigerian Airways Boeing 707 arrived at an airport in London, empty, with the pilot saying he had arrived to pick up diplomatic baggage from the Nigerian High Commission. By July 5th, Umaru Diko stepped out of his house and was grabbed by two men and sedated and kept inside a van. He was then kept inside this crate with a doctor beside him to prevent him from choking. They wanted him alive. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side you're on, his secretary, Elizabeth Hayes, saw the whole thing and then reported it to the authorities. And fun fact, he later went on to marry this woman. Because he was a high-profile Nigerian government official, this kidnap was taken very seriously. Even then Prime Minister of England, Margaret Thatcher, was made aware of what happened. Customs officials at airports were warned to keep an eye on any Nigerian-bound cargo. Not only that, but a Mossad agent, who was apparently angry that he was left off the mission, sent a tip to the police too. Around 4 p.m., two crates were being accompanied by Nigerian diplomats to the airport. They were stopped by a customs officer called Charles Moreau, who smelled something coming from the crates. Anesthesia, which was given to Umaru Diko to keep him sleeping, has a very strong smell. So he was like, hold on, I want to search this crate. But the Nigerian said that no, this is a diplomatic crate filled with documents. Now see, under international law, diplomatic cargoes can't be searched by customs agents. So they were in the clear. No, not yet. The officer was like, I'm not too sure about this rule because he didn't really have any experience dealing with this. So he went to check the procedures. Just then, one of his co-workers came with news that there was a bulletin from the authorities that a Nigerian was kidnapped and was expected to be smuggled out of the country. He was like, wait, those guys are Nigerians. Something isn't adding up. He then put two and two together and found out what was going on. He called the authorities, went back to them and said that I'm going to search this crate. But legally, regardless of his suspicion, he still couldn't search it because it was supposed to be a diplomatic cargo and diplomatic cargoes cannot be searched. But in another case of Nigerian incompetence, the crate was not properly marked as a diplomatic cargo. For a vessel to be diplomatic, it has to be clearly labeled. This was not. This is the funniest part of the whole story. As they were about to open the gates, obviously, they knew the jig was up. One of the diplomats, he literally took off running. Now, they were in an airfield, so it was just like miles and miles of land. There was literally nowhere he could go. He turned back and saw that nobody was chasing him and he just stopped running. So they opened the crate and saw Diko laying there unconscious with a doctor with a syringe laying next to him. He was then rushed to the hospital where he made a full recovery. The aftermath was insane. Both the Nigerian government and the Mossad agent denied any involvement in this, claiming that it was rogue agents that did this. But, I mean, the Nigerian people literally came with diplomatic passports and a whole airplane. 17 people in total were arrested for this, including the Boeing 707 crew. 4 of them were tried and were all pronounced guilty. One of them will later admit in a memoir decades later that the Nigerian government was indeed involved. Yes, groundbreaking news there. For 2 years, diplomatic ties between Nigeria and the United Kingdoms were completely shut off. It was only after Buhari was removed in a coup by Ibrahim Babangida did the relations resume. So this is the story of the highest profile Nigerian operation outside of Africa. Thank you for the views.
Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe.